Okay, it's finally happened. The most anticipated matchup of the first round of this tournament. Sentinels versus Fnatic. Everyone's been losing their minds over the build up to this game. And I think Fnatic are going to be the best team, if not in the top 3 teams of this year for sure. Their lineup looks stacked. I'm a big fan of Derke and Boaster and Alpha. Chronicle and Leo coming in as well is absolutely huge. And they looked fantastic. Not only did they look sharp, they looked like they were well prepared, like they've got lots of things in the playbook ready to go, and also like they were making really good reads throughout the game. And we did get a little bit of that TenZ versus Derke kind of matchup as well. Let's jump into the first round where they sort of go head to head. Okay, so we're coming into round 4 and Fnatic overbought and lost in round 3, and so that means they end up on this eco. We've got Chronicle having a Vandal. And they're going to create a bit of pressure all towards A. What they're trying to do here, they're trying to force Sentinels off this A lobby area and force them to rotate in towards C, because that's where they have their Astra and Killjoy set up, or at least into B where they can take short range fights with their weaker guns. If you count Derke, we actually have 2 shorties in this buy as well. Fnatic are going to be successful with this early aggression here to force Sentinels to go somewhere else on the map. E is the win condition for this round here for Fnatic. So they're trying to set him up in towards getting a kill, an early pick, so that they can open up the round. So as you can see, we have Sentinels off of that early aggression. They go, all right, well, we don't want to have to fight through that position, so we're going to go in towards C. And what they do is they actually send Breach into Garage and Sky into Long. And I think this is a mistake. Couple of reasons. So TenZ is going to take this fight into Garage. If TenZ is taking this fight and he actually swings it solo, just dry picking it against this Killjoy shorty. I've just skipped forward so it's a little bit easier to see on the map. But so we have Breach and Jet here. We have Breach and Jet looking to go into Garage. Omen and Sky looking to come up C long. And Def, for some reason, is actually poking up into B. Now, this is a huge mistake, especially against the kind of buy that they're up against. He could just end up getting shot by Derke right here or from any of these angles. And there's just no need. There's just no need to take a lurk. A lurk always is in detriment of your main exec hit. But you try and find more value in lurking through getting unexpected picks and timings. And that has inherent risk because you're walking solo through the map in uncharted waters. This is an unnecessary risk that doesn't need to be taken. And Def does get punished for it. The other thing about this push is, it would have been much better, I think, if the Breach and the Sky were swapped. So the Sky can flash into Garage, flashing anyone in there, but also finding out if anyone's in there with her voice line. And that allows Jet to confidently swing through Garage, or they can send the dog into Garage to get that player. Now, if there's not a player there, the other option that Sky has is you can just dog from the start, and TenZ can follow the dog in, and the dog can actually go all the way to backside. So TenZ can just run through at that point. And if the dog finds someone, you can flash, and TenZ can swing against a flash stunned agent. It's really important that TenZ doesn't lose this fight. And he gets an insane timing as Alpha looks away. The other thing about this is Breach's stun line here and flash line here and like aftershock for all of this. All really good out of C long. You can also hit the aftershock to prevent anyone running in if you take sight really easily. One thing that I forgot to mention is that they use Skydog to go all the way up C long and into sight. The Omen Paranoia or Breach's stun into Cubby is more than enough to facilitate those 2 players walking up C long. Jet on site can also help those players get up C long, so you want to prioritize Jet. But Sentinels get their util like way out of whack. They don't use enough to come into Garage. They don't get punished for it, and they way overuse it for backside. So let's have a look at how this plays out. Def walks up here. He's going to run into Derke. He gets picked off. And now Alpha, seeing the smoke, runs away. And TenZ gets a lucky timing that he doesn't die to a shorty there. Would have been traded, but all of a sudden you don't have your Jet to entry here. Flash, flash. 2 flashes back to back to take this backside area. And they also actually dogged all the way up C long through here as well. And then everyone gets split up more and more and more. So Sassy's going to go check flank, and he's going to give a 1v1. And it's luckily that TenZ is actually on track in sync with playing with his opponents. See, Sassy dies to Derke there. TenZ is a little bit forward here, but this is a great aftershock. Boaster is forced to swing with the Frenzy. Now, this wouldn't have also had to happen if Fnatic had a different strategy into this retake, but Fnatic ended up going in 1v1 here. We'll get into what they should have done in a little bit. But TenZ manages to get out of that with the support of his utility teammates. He swings and trades out Pancada, and then he's also going to swing and trade here with Zek. And a great entry from Derke, a really great way of playing his outs. Isolates this fight against TenZ, and then smokes off that cross so that he can try and get this isolated fight here. But TenZ is one step ahead of him, moves over and trades him out. Great play from both Derke and TenZ there. Now, as soon as Fnatic got this kill, Derke comes and grabs this gun. They could have had a whole extra gun for this fight, and they could have used it to help take garage controls. So what I would have liked to have seen one of two things: going and dropping this gun to Boaster so that he has a gun and not a frenzy, or coming in and actually crunching garage, isolating this garage fight and taking it, and then you could do a gun trade swap off there. From there, you could send someone flank if you wanted to, or you could just barrel out of sight, or you could split sight CT. You have 3 or 4 players against 3 or 4 players, depending on how this garage fight goes. But if you crunch it in a 180, like peeking through here, like with a flash or an Astra stun or something like that, that's a really favorable fight. You get numbers advantage, you get space advantage because you've got all of this. And Derke is able to dash out on site with knives. Like, that would have been a much better retake, a whole extra gun in their hands. Instead, Derke has the Vandal and the knives, and he tries to make a play at the end to make it work, and he almost gets away with it, but TenZ gets the better of him at the end of the round. One theme of this match is that, unironically, Fnatic and Sentinels both had jet go kill kind of setups and plays. And I'm not saying that as a bad thing because they were very well supported. Look at this. Stun, smoke, flash, and then we have a dart lineup that comes in. Sentinels react quickly enough to bail out of it. Derke gets a double smoke down, and Chronicle actually pushes in. Makes a great read by pushing in from this side because Derke was aiming over towards the players over here. So that's a really great read and fight from Chronicle. Leo also just a little bit late with this Hunter's Fury to really connect out of it. If Leo had have started using it now, he could have actually probably aimed just this side of Derke, or even right on Derke, because it's not going to do that much damage to him to stop these players from being able to run away. Or if they do run away, they're going to be punished and all tagged, and you're going to deal a lot of damage. But that's not the case. It does end up coming through, but yeah, it's too late. It's a little bit out of sync, and that's something they'll probably review, and maybe we'll see that again next time with better timing. But the rest of the round does get to play out. We end up in a 4v4, and then it becomes a 4v3 really quickly as Boaster dies right there. And they pump the brakes. Fnatic, no smokes there. Boaster getting a little bit over aggressive. Potentially should have been someone else in that position rather than your smokes agent. But at least you're not attacking with no smokes. You are defending with no smokes, which is a lot easier to do than attack. Fnatic are actually going to have a great hold over towards this C site, and forgive the stutters, that is actually the stream that kept stuttering. Alpha Air missing that shot, and you can see the disappointment on his face. He looks confused as to how he missed that. But he does have to force his way off to avoid that dog, and he's all the way in backside and hits the elbow of Death there as he just over peaks to get that turret out. And look at this beautiful rolling thunder that comes through. It forced him all the way back into Cubby. Alpha Air's got that angle. TenZ goes down in the middle of sight, and now we get a nice little shock dart that's going to come in and bounce off of this wall here from Leo, making up for his mistimed ultimate. Pancada actually teleports out though, and Pancada plays this clutch almost perfectly. He's going to get these smokes out here. Now, these smokes are going to stall both the players coming this way because they don't know if he's pushed into one of those smokes, and they don't want to take a 1v1 fight inside of a smoke. And he actually goes the other way. It's a complete fake, but he forces them to respect it. And he's lucky enough to get a 1v1 fight here against Leo. And then gets a good timing here as he peeks up against Chronicle, gets another 1v1 fight. So now he's got a 1v1. He is one tap against Alpha Air, so he's got to be careful. He has to take a good fight. Alpha Air baits out the flash and taps it again and forces Pancada to swing. And I think if Pancada had have played this just a little bit differently, definitely could have won that fight. I think off that first tap, you want to gamble that they're not going to stick it. The thing is though, I don't want to be telling Pancada how to clutch because I've got a video in the backlog saved of Pancada doing incredible clutches and making a whole guide based around using some of his examples as how he operates in the clutch. So take my word with a grain of salt in this instance. All I know is that he lost a really hard clutch to get, and he got a lot closer than 99.9% of players would have gotten in that situation. I just want to come now to the start of round 11, where we're going to compare a Sentinels Jet go kill to the previous Derke go kill. So they've got a standard sort of C setup for their execute. They're going to have the molly and the stun. There's a couple of things they could have done differently. Now, this molly is going to come all the way in land CT, and TenZ is going to double smoke, dash updraft into window, and push into this CT line. Now, there's two ways that this can sort of be executed. That this molly that lands is trying to keep people in sight, or it's trying to punish people for running out of sight. Essentially, you just want no one running through this area. The best way to do that is to actually time this breach stun with this molly so that you get trapped as you run through it. Now, what complicates that is that Derke is on top of this box right here holding this op line. So they do have to force some util out towards him. I think what they should have done is just flashed high to force him off this angle. And instead of breach stunning it, which is what they do, they should have breach stunned this angle, and that would have been much better support for TenZ as he kind of runs in. We kind of get trapped halfway through and syncing up the util and stuff here, but Jet, TenZ runs through, he's got his knives, and he also doesn't right click this. He tries to get both of these kills. You can see Derke, I need to go a frame forward. Derke is stunned, but Alphayer is not. He's a little bit low from running out in that molly, but if Alphayer was stunned and stuck in that molly, TenZ would have a really, really good fight here, and he'd get to. He would 100% get to in this situation. Instead, Alphayer actually sits him down, and Sentinels attack here just falls apart in this round. They're unable to hold the site. So let's move on to the final round that we're going to look at, which is round 17. Smiles on faces for Fnatic as we come into this round 17, where they are up against a full eco here for the Sentinels, 4 sheriffs in hand. So there is the ability that they potentially do damage. And this is the reason why Fnatic are at the top. Not only their fragging potential, because they have absolutely insane aimers on this team. It's not the deep playbook that they seem to have. You know, there's a lot of really specific, intricate plays that you would not be developing unless you had all of the other things down pat. But it's this. It's their understanding of how to actually win the game. They're up against an anti-eco and their score is 11-5. What they do in this round is they keep it simple. We're going to hit A. We're going to use all of our util to only take A. We don't need to spread it out and default. They get a stun, a suck, and a dart here to try and create a first early pick and open up the map. 2 pieces of those util is fine to just force someone off the angle. All 3 is like too much if you're trying to work the whole map. You just run out of util too quickly. But in this round, it doesn't matter because they keep their strategy simple. And they are up against an eco. They don't want to take any risks. They just want to win this round. They're just going to go A. They have all the tools. They have the breach ult, which allows them to do it. And they're going to invest the breach ult. There is so many teams who would not do that, who would not get ready to use this breach ult against an eco. They would just want to save it for the full gun round. But I would rather have a flawless round and get up to 12-5 rather than lose 2 or 3 guns and have a dicey round that could end up, you know, you're having to need someone to actually hit some shots and just take a duel to win the game. No, it's unnecessary risk. Get yourself to match point and put the pressure on your opponents to perform. Now, this ult is also really, really nice. Covers like all of this part of site. So all of graffiti, all of short, the way that Chronicle is standing far back enough. The only place that it doesn't hit is obviously hell, but this spot here. But you're able to peek this and see if no one's standing there anyway, or you'll see them as soon as you come into sight. So it's not an important part to hit. I think a lot of players, especially you might see this in your ranked games, is that they will do this perfect ult that is in line with the site. It all looks very nice and parallel and symmetrical or whatever, but it's actually not as good an ult as actually hitting graffiti, where you're more likely to have someone playing. All that happens here in these next few seconds is they wait for Leo's dart to come back up after being used at the start of the round. He's got the lineup ready to go. Everyone's holding their angles, turrets watching their back, and off the dart goes. Now, this comes out a little bit early, or the Rolling Thunder comes out late, I think. in a full gun round, you definitely want those to be hitting at the same time or much closer together so that you can get more value out of those scans. The way that if you stack your utility, you often find that you're able to get more value out of it. But you can see it's just such a dominant take. They don't even take any damage as they come into sight. Everyone still has full armor. Full armor and health on everyone on the side of Fnatic. So they don't even need to buy armor currently coming into the next round. Pancada's got this nice little lurk. Derke's come here to find it. Just playing all the way back and safely though. If Derke was to get one tapped here with Pancada hitting a nice shot, the gun's going to fall at the bottom of sewers where we have two players that can very easily watch and protect it. And then Sassy sitting up here in heaven just has to save. Fnatic look strong, and this is the reason why, because they're willing to play the game to win. They're not trying to maximize their value of each round, etc, etc, etc. They're just willing to spend and close out. They understand how to win rounds, and winning rounds wins you the game.